This is my video of my 2006 Xterra timing chain replacement. I'm just about ready to put the timing cover back on. So I'm kind of actually coasting downhill now finally after several days of work. This video is not meant to replace all of the other outstanding work and videos and things that people have posted. But I did learn a few things along the way that where I needed to clarify a few things, and where I thought things were ambiguous or confusing. Also, I am not a mechanic; I'm an engineer. So take this advice or these lessons learned or whatever for whatever they're worth. Anyways, this is the front timing cover. The first thing that I want to point out is all the manuals say to set the timing to top dead center before you do anything. And I found that the manual, the service manual, is actually a little bit ambiguous here. The manual talks about, I think it says, put the black groove somewhere in about the 1 or 2 o'clock position. But actually, if you'll notice, the two white lines align with the keyhole. The keyhole should be at the 11 o'clock position at top dead center. As you can see, my keyhole is about at 11 o'clock top dead center. My blue link's lined with my mark here. My blue link's lined with my mark here. On the bottom, about the 5 o'clock, there's a timing mark there, and my copper link is there. When I started this, it was not in the correct position. I had some spring loading on one of the cams and it flipped, and I had a hard time getting it all back and lined up. But I'll tell you this, when the timing chain is set correctly, it goes together a lot easier. As it turns out, after I put this together the first time, I was a little bit unsure about, or I was not 100% confident in what I did, and I took it all back apart and I found out my main chain was off by a half a link. It's easy to do. I mean, when these tensioners snap back, it can jump timing. So when you're all done, you need to run it around a few times, back and forth a little bit, just to make sure everything's set and is not going to jump. Now, what I did when I set the timing is I made my own marks the first time. I was really careful, but I think what you'll find when you make your own marks is that I used white out. I thought I did a good job, but it's easy to get off by a half a link when you're kind of contorted and you're marking this stuff, and you're marking it on oily surfaces. And the best thing to do is use the marks on the cams. Another thing I learned is even when this thing is all set up and I'm done here, the book shows this line kind of marked with this little marker, this boss. Over here, I have everything set exactly correctly, but this thing's still a little bit to the left of this boss. But nevertheless, everything is still lined up with the marks on the cams. Same here. I made marks on the secondary chain when I took them off. I was very careful, very meticulous, put it back together. And even when I put it back together, it didn't exactly look right or line up the way I thought. So I took it all apart again, and I aligned it with the factory marks instead of my marks. And as it turns out, I was correct, but you got to trust the factory marks. Another thing, I didn't realize this when I started, but when I first got started, I was trying to align all the chain marks before I took it apart, just so they were aligned in the correct place. The timing marks align with the chain only one time. When it's set at the factory, they all line up. Now you can get the individual chains to line up individually, but they'll never all three chains and with all the timing marks will never line up again. The other thing is, when you set this to top dead center, you might have to rotate this one time to make sure that these are pointed up. These guys turn 2 times every time this guy turns once, because it's a 4-stroke engine. So after you set this to top dead center, take the cover off, you might have to go around one time. But the thing is, trust the marks. Couple other things. Use a torque wrench to tighten all these small bolts. In the service manual, notice all the little bolts that they're marked in inch pounds. Some of them, there's six or 7 foot-pounds of torque, and you're tight. I was being very careful, and I stripped one out on the water pump. Had to retap it. These are M6s. I had to put an M7 in. Also, when you I replaced the water pump. I replaced all the tensioners. I did a little bit more than the standard technical service bulletin says. I replaced all the chains, all the tensioners. But also, when you take the water pump out, a bunch of antifreeze is going to run down there, even though it was drained and getting the oil pan. So note to self, got to change that, change the oil first thing before I even start it up. See, what else can I tell you about the guts here? Couple other things down in here. I don't think the service manual says to take the air conditioning compressor loose, but there's a couple of bolts that go in the timing cover. Take them loose. There's one in the back. I also removed that bolt. Power steering bracket's got to come off. That's a bear because there's 2 blind bolts in the back that have to be removed. Okay, the tensioners. Replace these. Obviously, that was the root of the problem. The engine whine. I replaced those without using the special tool. You really don't need it. Like so many people have said, you can use channel locks or something. Just be careful to make sure that it's perfectly aligned with the plunger, and press it in, and put something soft like tape a rag to the tips of the channel locks or whatever kind of plier things you use to snap that guy in. But you don't need that special tool. You absolutely do need the special fly lock tool. That thing's a lifesaver, and it works great for locking this. Yeah, the main pulley's a bear to get off. I ended up using a 1/2-inch breaker bar, an impact socket, and a 4-foot piece of pipe I bought at Lowe's, and it actually came right off after I did that. The other thing is aligning the chain. Things are a lot easier if you take this guy off, because then you can manipulate these a little bit, and you can get the chain aligned a little bit easier down here. I replaced this guide, so no big deal. The other things in here, yeah, I removed a lot of stuff just to make sure that I had good free access, but I did not take the head covers off. It's absolutely not necessary. I even talked to one of the mechanics at Nissan. He says that they do not do it. You just got to be real careful when you're torquing these 4 bolts. Make sure you do it with all the chains on, and be gentle. Torque it to the proper spec, but be gentle with that, and it'll work just fine. You can't see it right now, but when you're working, put rags in here. A lot of people have showed that, but not only does it keep the dirt out, if you drop one of your fasteners or something, it won't go down in the oil pan. The other thing is there's grooves on this the oil pan, and there's also grooves on the front timing cover gasket to hold RTV sealant or whatever a little bit better. The best thing to use to clean those out is bamboo skewers. Get them at the grocery store. They work absolutely fantastic. Couple other things here. Here's the back of my timing cover, all cleaned up, ready to put back on. I did replace the main seal here per I think the TSB bulletin. That's pretty easy to smack out and put in. This guy's cleaned up, ready to put back on. And as you'll notice, I did not take these timing pulley covers off. There's also in the TSB, there's also 2 O-ring washer things that look like this that are recommended to be replaced. These actually go behind here. There's 2 other O-rings that I replaced that are on the engine that go on the back of these guys. You can get to those and replace them, but if you don't take the covers off, there's these two guys in the TSB that are called out that you just don't need to replace. Now, when I dry fit the cover a minute ago and put it on, it's a little bit tough to get on. You got to go get the bottom set first, and then it seems to hang up a little bit on the top. And I actually suspect it's these guys when they fit in those timing pulleys on the top, whatever the heck they're called, timing cams, gears that come out. These go in the center and line up, and they're a little bit stubborn. You got to give it a little bit of nudge, and then it pops right in. So I'll put gasket material on here, all the way around here, and I'll also actually apply it to the bottom of the oil pan, and then kind of slide it in, put it in from the bottom first, and then snap in the top. I dry fitted a couple times because I didn't want to get RTV all over the place. Another thing, here's all the stuff I had to take off. I tried to stay really organized. There's a ton of stuff here. So I bagged it and marked it. Not much else to say there, but just stay organized, because there is a ton of stuff that has to come off. One other thing I did, because I was starting to get confused, because there's 25 bolts in the front cover that have to be torqued and put back together. So I actually numbered the torquing order here, 1 through, I think it's 1 through 25. There are, gosh, five very large bolts. They look like this. They go in first. And then there's 20 small bolts. Now, the interesting thing that they don't tell you in the service manual is with the 5 large bolts, there's one that's a little bit shorter. When I noticed that when I took it out, and I marked that hole with white out. So that's the short fat bolt goes in this guy. Now there's 20 other much smaller bolts. There's also 2 longer ones. So that means I guess there's something like 18 short ones, and then there's 2 that are a little bit longer. They go here, 24 and 25, I guess, and I marked those with white out, so I made sure I got those in the right hole. So just about good to go there. Oh, one other thing, when I was taking the timing cover off, another thing that I noticed a lot of people had trouble with, they forget to take this one pulley off here. I think it's this guy. This guy actually goes all the way through. Maybe it's not that one. It must be another one. But there, oh, it's this one right here. This guy goes in there, I believe. But that goes all the way through the case, and that'll hang the case up when you're trying to pry it off. So that definitely has to come off. Anyways, I hope this helps anyone trying to do this job. It's doable, but you know, I know that the garage charges a couple $1,000 to do this. I kind of get why. It's a pain in the butt. Not really designed to be super maintainable. But anyways, I hope some of this information helps. Thanks a lot for watching.